I don't know if the process gets harder or easier. I've been enjoying it a lot in the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm very happy with the way it's been going. And working with my lovely wife, Holly, is an enormous pleasure for me, and is very satisfying. She's more than a lyricist, and helps me in many, many ways, and it's fantastic to be able to work that way. And yes, it's not a new thing. It's been going on since 1993, so 22 years we have been working together, building up as time has gone on.
Mr. Gilmour, here. There's a Brazilian musician in your band.
There is?
Yeah.
Mr. João
A very young gentleman named João. Yeah. And I want to ask you how this young sax player joined your band.
Well, we were very lucky in that a friend of ours was working with João. In fact, Phil had worked with him a bit as well, and introduced him. We needed a sax player, and there are some old sax parts on the old records, and some sax and clarinet parts and things on the new record, and like magic, João turned up and is doing a fantastic job. He's great for someone so young.
Hello, Mr. Gilmour. André Gonzalez for Modern Drummer magazine. What are the...
What would you like to know about drumming?
That's a shame. Speaking about your albums, I want to know what are the inspirational differences between the last one, On an Island, and this one, Ratle That.
Inspiration builds up towards whatever project you're working on. I can't pin down what the difference in inspiration between the On an Island album and this album is, except perhaps that at that time we were living a very much more rural existence, and life was a bit slower, and we're living in a town now by the sea, and it's a little bit livelier. Whether that has any bearing on it or not, I've no idea, but you could say that the difference between that album and this album is perhaps that this one's a little bit more up-tempo. There's no difference in the process.
Mr. Gilmour, Rich from 89. After an illustrious career of shows, tours, albums, what are you excited about on this tour? What makes this tour special for you?
That I'm still here to do it. It's great. I mean, it's really nice to come for the first time ever for me to come to Brazil and Argentina, Chile, and play concerts. It was in our earlier years. It never seemed possible. We never thought we would get here because of the complications of the travel and the various things that have happened that one hears about with people who've come here in the past and the difficulties. And so it's a treat now to be able to come here and for the first time be able to do a show.
Hello, it's a pleasure for us to be here, yes. And I'm from Chile, and I welcome you to South America. It's an honor to have you finally here. Well, what would you like to say to Chile? They are listening to you by now. So please, you're in a couple of days more to play there. So,
what can I say? I'm really looking forward to playing in Chile. It will be terrific. I've never been to Santiago. I've never been to Chile. Never been to the Atacama Desert. Never been to any of those places. But it's a thrill to be coming to do a concert there.
Puedo darle un mensaje al pueblo de Chile también, de nosotros, que estamos muy entusiasmados para venir a Chile por primera vez, y toda la banda va a ser una experiencia buenísima para nosotros, es muy importante y especial.
He speaks Spanish. Who knew?
Not Portuguese, I'm afraid.
David, my name is Gaston from Kiss FM. I'd like to know about the set list. I know that you're about to play A Storm in the Mine. Is it a kind of tribute to Syd Barrett? And why don't you play any song from your first 2 solo albums?
It's a hard job picking a set list that pleases me and I think will please people. It's tricky, but yeah, we're doing a set list that I think covers most areas. But I'm afraid, you know, in all these years since 1968, there's an awful lot of material, and some just has to get left out. And you know, sometimes there are issues that are covered in songs that no longer seem to be quite so relevant in the current moment. But we've tried to do a song or two from all the period of Pink Floyd's history, and sometimes when Pink Floyd's history and my solo career's history are close together in time, it's better to play some of the better known songs. I'm sorry if we're not playing your favourites.
Hi, my name is Roger. Mr. Gilmour, you've been working with some of your musicians for a long time. Could you talk about long-time companion collaboration with one of these musicians, Mr. Phil Manzanera? And Mr. Manzanera, how is it to work with Mr. Gilmour, please?
Well, Phil and I go back a long, long way. Since before he was in Roxy Music, I met him through his brother, Eugene.
That's right. I went to ask advice from David when I was 16 about what you do to become a professional musician. And I think you had just joined, literally. You were...
I don't know how long I've been in. I don't know what year that was.
No, I'll tell you, it was in January 1968.
Was it?
And you left the lunch and you went to Abbey Road. You were recording. What was that album? You recorded?
Source for the Secrets.
That's the one.
Yeah. Well, I'd forgotten exactly when it was, but we go back a long, long way. And I think the first time we collaborated properly was on a track or two that we worked on for the Momentary Lapse of Reason Pink Floyd album in 1987.
Okay,
We're still here.
Hi, Mr. Gilmour. I am Marcos from a website called Ilha do Metal, and rock and roll had a lot of great guitar players, and you know you made part of this. What do you think your legacy to the following generation?
Gosh, I think that's something for you to answer, not me, isn't it? You tell me. I don't know. I play it. I don't have to think about how it's affecting other people.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Gilmour. I'm Alva from Agencia F and also from Ratle That from Chile, so I'll continue with that question. My question is the following. Why did you choose to play in Chile, which is not a place normally included in musical tours? And if you happen to admire or know any rhythm music from Chilean music? Thank you.
Well, you know, these tours are set up by management people and agencies, and it depends on who wants what and what you can do within the given time frame.
Que ele quer fazer as letras. A tua pergunta tem alguma coisa a ver com ela, não?
Não.
Tinha, mas eu vou fazer outra.
Ah, é? Ele gostaria que perguntasse sobre mim.
My manager, along with agencies here and in London, made those decisions and asked me if that was okay with me, and I said that sounded great to me. So I can't really help you with that. And I have to confess, my knowledge of Chilean music is limited.
Mr. Gilmour, Sergio Martins from Veja Magazine. You played Comfortably Numb with Roger Waters in one of the Wall tours. And Mr. Waters said that it began as a joke, that you always said, what if I go to the stage and play one song, what people would say? I would like to know if it's true what Mr.
Well done. Be practicing. Fantastic.
Was that all right, pronunciation? Good.
But the process, I think they've sort of refined it over the last 20 years. You say you've been working together for 20 years. I think it's really come to a very good point now, where you have a very good understanding and you work quite quickly, actually, because once, yes, the music was got together over a period of 5 years, but once you picked on which songs to do between the two of you, you really got on, and it was within a couple of months. So even though this album, in theory, there's a big gap between On an Island and this album, it actually was only done in a few months, from January to March. Or May. I thought I'd just throw that in for the people who might be interested.
Hi, I'm Mr. Gilmour. The record has a variety of different influences, like jazz and pop, stuff like that. So my question is, now that the Pink Floyd chapter is really over, do you feel more free to explore this different kind of stuff that maybe didn't work within the context of the band?
You might think that, but I was not aware of ever not doing anything within Pink Floyd that came up. And we covered a lot of different styles within Pink Floyd, but Pink Floyd makes them all sound like they are cohesive. I hope that happens with my record too. I don't feel freer, but that just happens to be the way some of the music has come out. It wasn't a deliberate thing. It's just, yeah, I don't think we ever didn't play something within Pink Floyd because we didn't think it would fit stylistically.
Hi, David. I'm speaking from guitar player, Brazilian version. I'm sorry about my English is very bad. My first question is for the saxophone player. I would like is how to play with David Gilmour.
Well, it is a complete honor, for sure. I mean, Pink Floyd is a band that I have been listening to since a very young child, and to have the chance to play David's band is a complete honor, and it's been a great pleasure. It's been a lot of fun as well, and yeah, I'm very grateful for that happening, and thank you, Phil Manzanera, as well, for making the connection between us. So.
And also, you wouldn't have got the gig unless you were very good. He takes no prisoners, this man. So, you know, well done. And it's great to have, you know, a young player in the band, especially now coming back to Brazil, you know, his home country.
He's only pretending to be from Brazil. You can hear he speaks perfect English.
I'm a liar, I'm a liar.
Say something again.
E realmente é um grande prazer estar aqui ao Brasil também, com uma grande lenda como o David, e realmente assim, vai ser incrível tocar em Curitiba, que é a minha cidade natal, aqui também, tenho família e amigos aqui, então vai ser, simplesmente foi uma oportunidade inesquecível, e é isso mesmo.
Next question is about your guitar model, because it's only made by Fender Custom Shop, and so very expensive for young guitar players. Is there an idea to make a model? I don't know how to say it.
Cheaper.
Cheaper. Yeah, that's it.
Fender wanted to make a guitar model of mine, and they tend to make two varieties of guitars for well-known guitar players, and one is very, very expensive. I mean, 4 or 5 times as much as my model guitar, or they make a very cheap model. So they have two varieties, very cheap, very expensive, and I refused to go for either of those options because the very cheap model only looks like the model of guitar that people think they're getting. And I couldn't see the point in having a guitar that was just black and was any other old Fender off the shelf. And I thought it was insulting to have these ridiculously expensive ones. So myself, with my guitar tech, Phil Taylor, examined every single aspect of my guitar that I play. Clear off. And we have done a very extensive job of finding the right pickups that sounded like mine and getting everything as perfect as it can be. A lot of work went into that guitar, and I'm sorry about the price. It's quite expensive, as you say, but it's not hugely expensive, and it's impossible to make a proper one that is as good as that and is consistent with Fender any other way. I'm sorry, that was the best we could do.
Hi, Mr. Gilmour, Bruna from Billboard. I wanted to know, what are your 5 favorite albums of all time, and just 5, and which artist would you want to go see live today?
Gosh, I mean, there's too many albums. I can't tell you the 5 favourite albums of all time. It's silly. It changes all the time. I very much like Nick Cave's album, Push the Sky Away, that came out a couple of years ago. That's one of my favourite modern times. I believe he lived here in São Paulo for a few years. Was it in Rio? No, I don't know what can't give you my favourite albums, I'm afraid. What was the other part of your question?
Which artist would you want to go see live?
I love to go and see Leonard Cohen. That's who I'd like to go and see again.
David, your voice is very easily recognizable. But first time that I heard Ratle That Lock, I couldn't recognize your voice. Could I say that you were trying something new about singing?
No.
Not at all? In a different tone, you're singing a bit higher?
I had the backing track complete. I'd sung some la-la-las over it. Polly came up with the lovely, great words. We went into my studio, Polly and I, and we turned on the microphone and the track, and I sang it, and that's how it came out. There's no mystery or magic. It's just how it is.
I think that maybe because it's an up-tempo number.
It's so rare.
The deep side is with more attack.
Yeah.
And so it's got more distortion in your voice or something. And that's maybe why people didn't recognize it. Whereas your other voice can be quite angelic, really.
El Professor always has the answers.
Right.
Hello, I'm Marcus from Command Rock here. And I have a question for you, David Gilmour. It's about your second record, About Face. It's the more pop-oriented record you ever released. And my question would be, has Phil something to do that he is the co-producer for this new record, Ratle That, that this Ratle That had to be pop-oriented as well, so it has to be, so it could be that successful as About Face, your second record?
Gosh, I had no idea that I was making a pop record. Well, obviously I'm a pop musician. Did you push me into making a more pop record, Phil? Is it a bad thing?
No, I mean, you just made the record you wanted to make. You in the end, you probably chose those 10 or 11 tracks to work on out of 30 or 40 tracks. That's how you were feeling that day when you chose them, and you decided to finish them off. But in essence, it's you. It's what you and Polly are about now. It's all about the two of you.
We're always, every year, every one of us is in a slightly different frame of mind. And I listen to some demos that I've made years ago, and I think, well, that's something I liked then, and I listen to it and I can't understand why I liked it at that moment. And other ones that I didn't like then, I listen to again and think, that's actually rather nice. So it is just a different mood that I must be in at this particular stage of my life that makes it a slightly different mood of record. I can't give you a better answer, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Gilmour, as a musician, is there anything that you haven't done yet that is still on your list of things that you really want to accomplish?
I wish I knew. I don't know the answer to that. No, there's nothing that I can specify that I haven't done that I really want to do. I want to make more good music, which I will enjoy as I make it, and hopefully will give.
What about you, Phil?
Well, I have a slightly, I was brought up in Cuba and Venezuela and Colombia, so I have starting from a different trajectory. But when I listened to the radio into England, and the Beatles started coming, then I was just obsessed by that. And George Harrison, I just loved George Harrison. And when I went to England, then it was all the people like who came to England: Jimi Hendrix, Peter Green, Clapton, Pete Townsend, Jeff Beck, the whole history of David Gilmour. Twice. So good I said it twice.
Please. Hi. Polly, Gilmour, I would like to ask you a question for your wife. How do you feel writing important songs like from Division Bell, from Ratle That? How do you feel writing special songs in the voices of your husband? How do you feel see these songs alive?
It's a voice I know very well. And the most thrilling moment is when the lyric is first written and the first time he sings it. It's incomparable. I mean, that's the best answer I can give.
No. And how do you feel, David, singing for songs from your wife?
Something, I've always liked to be in a team of people. I've never particularly set out to do what I have, what it appears to be now with my name on it. I always liked being a part of something, and to be together in life and in work with this woman is an honour and a thrill, and it really is. It's a nice way to work.
Yeah.
And I want to keep that going. It's terrific.
Perfect.
Mr. Gilmour? Mr. Gilmour for Futuro Radio again, for Chile. You teach us how to fly. You took us out of this world. So,
sorry, say again?
You took us to the other side of the moon in a way. You teach us how to fly. How do you see, after teaching us how to see the planet, how do you see society today after the scene that happened at the Le Bataclan in Paris and all that stuff?
I don't know if I want to get into all that. There's it's a very, very long, complicated story of why the Muslim world has, in part, become so discontent, and a lot of it is to do with the failures of the people in the West. But the actual real danger of this Daesh or ISIL seems to me to be rather exaggerated. It's not a huge thing in the world, and I'm sure a way will be found to get over it, but it's going to take a long time.
Hi again. I was wondering, do you think the world is going to see anytime soon another rock generation like the one they had in the 60s, 70s, 80s?
A what?
another rock generation, like the ones in the 70s and 80s?
I don't know. I'm not a prophet.
No?
I don't think it's going to happen. That was then, you know, it's a product of so many things in society. What music you get, you sort of get the music you deserve, really. It's like the 80s.
You can't predict that sort of thing. You know, you can just hope that it'll happen. It doesn't feel to me like there's anything like that outpouring about to happen, but I could very well be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong.
Vamos para a última pergunta. The last question.
Well, you said that you're not familiar to the music from Chile. What about the Brazilian music?
I don't really know much about South American music, you know, except what we have heard on the radio in England and what you see connected to the street festivals and things that go on over here. So it's not something of which I have an education. I'm sorry.
Okay, pessoal.
Okay.
Thank you very much.